the same thing is true. And I don't know how many of you are aware of how Steve Jobs came up with this graphic display for Macintosh. Who knows that? Where the idea for him came from? When the graphic displays that these icons and things like that compared to Windows. After he dropped out of Harvard, he went to a small college. I forget the name of the college. I mean, most of us don't even know. This is one of the things like, we all know about Harvards and MITs, right? There are so many smaller colleges, which may be innovative or creative, but we don't know that. So, more as a passing one, he went to take a course. Innovative solution, for example, we can learn. So that he saw that is what I can for academic and study two unrelated problems, challenges, and opportunities. Innovative solution, for example, is not confined only to one aspect of it. It can be from finance, it can be from right? Management, finance. So there is a lot of potential for academicians and researchers to study, and also most importantly, like the problems, challenges, and opportunities facing MSMEs. Because it's not confined only to one aspect of it. It can be from finance, it can be from any other area, right? Management, finance, entrepreneurship. How do they foster innovation, right? How do they become big? And also, most importantly, like many are also fail. Many companies, because the liability of newness, we call that, is very high. That many of the smaller firms, they start and after a couple of years they cease to exist. So, 90s, when the internet revolution took place, many companies started this internet-based trade.com and all sorts of things, and most of them could survive for more than 2 or 3 years. So, in terms of understanding, I think the impact of MSMEs on the economy and the scope it has is much more than what we can really think about, okay, or even understand those type of things. Why I'm saying is that this is even academic journals, for example, if you look at, there are many journals like Journal of Finance Knowledge, where articles are mostly focused on stock markets, trades, those type of things. Same thing is true for management, the same thing is true for marketing. Right, but where do we see how many journals are there that focus exclusively on MSMEs or business ventures? I think Journal of Business Venture is the only leading journal that I can recall, which is somewhat focused on this micro MSME enterprises. So the bottom line is that this is an area where I think there is a lot of scope. In other words, what we know is much less than what we ought to be knowing. In fact, one of the doctoral candidates who applied for a job with us presented something on a family business. See, I did not even know about a family charter and all that. It's a very interesting dissertation around that. He was talking about how the family charter is working. In fact, my own chairman, I was talking to him like about 5-6 months ago. I said, both of his children, one is working for some company and another one is in the US. So I said, you have a business that you are running. Obvious choice would be that they would take over from you, right, and then run the business. Why did they leave, right? One to US and one to what is working in bank. And he said, look, I told him one thing that if you want to work here and your creativity being stifled, you can stay back and work here. Or if you want your creativity and to be opportunities to be exploited, then you are better off. So I asked him, why would that? Then he said, in a family charter, we have a family charter, and which clearly defines the hierarchy, these all sorts of things, and you know how much money they can get paid, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, whether these are obstacles for the growth or whether these are facilitators is something that we need to really reflect upon. So having said that, I would request, I know that a lot of papers papers have been submitted. I am sure that these next couple of days will be a very great opportunity for you to interact with each other and see what's going on in that MSME arena, and what more scope is there, right, for us to explore this area. And also, like in Amritsar, I don't know how many of you are coming to Amritsar for the first time, that please visit Golden Temple, Wagah border. I think there are some so cultural events arranged for you, and make yourself comfortable and enjoy the food and hospitality of Punjab. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We now request Professor Ashwati Ashokanachita, Chairperson, ICMM 2023, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Good morning. Respected dignitaries on stage, honorable delegates, and my fellow researchers, a very good morning to one and all. On this chilly day, I wish you all a very warm welcome to Amritsar and to the second edition of International Conference on Management of MSME. After the pandemic had forced us to take the first edition online, this is the first offline of this annual conference, proudly hosted by IIM Amritsar. Through ICMM, IIM Amritsar endeavors to provide a platform for researchers across the country to interact with the entrepreneurs from one of the most vibrant economic centers of our country. We strive to bring together experts from public policy, business, and academia to mutually enrich each other's understanding to the common problem and to embark on a journey to solve the problems together. I am very happy to declare that we have received some good quality research abstracts this year. Researchers and practitioners from across the country and beyond will present 73 research articles in 20 tracks over the next 3 days. Further, based on the double-blind peer review process, we selected the best 5 submissions for the best paper track to be conducted on the morning of the last day of the conference. The ICMM conference team had experienced a steep learning curve in the last 2 years. A very important takeaway from the first edition of the conference has been the undertaking that MSME management is very complex, multidisciplinary problem. Accordingly, in this edition, we reached out beyond the academic world and sought out representations from the government and the industry. With immense help from the Ministry of MSME, faculty team in IIM Amritsar, and our MBA students, we were able to identify and invite dignitaries from government and the industry. It is rather humbling to let you know that we are in the presence of various dignitaries from the Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Innovation, Software Technology Park of India, Small Business Finance Corporation, Youth Entrepreneurship and Skilling Cells, Receivable Exchange of India Limited, and so on. Over the next 3 days, these dignitaries will enlighten us by sharing their experiences in 3 panel discussions and 1 ministry academia interaction. I am very sure that all of us are eagerly looking forward to learning from the experiences of the experts from the government and the industry. I wish you all a very best for your presentation and the events. I hope that you enjoy your stay in Amritsar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Fostering an innovation ecosystem, a rich and relevant an introduction from someone who was an integral part of the inception of the same. We now request Professor Sunil Reddy Kunduru, Assistant Professor IT and Computational Systems and Member Conference Committee, to deliver the introductory note to the conference theme. Please, sir. morning, everyone. So I'm here to talk about the conference theme, kind of the thinking that went into coming up with this theme by the team of ICMM 2023. All right. So when the word ecosystem evokes vivid and beautiful imagery, right? Nevertheless, today we are going to engage with this word ecosystem, not in the way it appeals to our senses, but in the way it helps us understand the world. When we look at ecosystem as a paradigmatic lens through which we investigate the nature of innovations. Now, the term ecosystem has its origins in natural sciences. The phrases such as a biological ecosystem or an environmental ecosystem help us conceptualize macro-level perspective of natural phenomena. This perspective enables us to study the natural phenomenon in a more holistic way by considering not only the natural causes but also the actions of animate and inanimate entities in the ecosystem. For example, average rainfall at any given location can be explained in terms of the factors such as average temperature, average humidity, and the patterns of pressure variations at the location. Such factors, when chosen meticulously, can give us can help us reliably explain the phenomenon. In a few cases, they can even help us predict the phenomenon with great reliability. On the other hand, when we take ecosystems approach to study rainfall, we look beyond the causal factors. For example, the extent of human settlement, the amount of forest cover in the region, the nature of economic activity in the region can be brought in to investigate the average rainfall at a location. Now, using ecosystems approach in investigation accords us a very important capability. Beyond explaining and predicting the phenomenon, it also allows us to understand what needs to be done to achieve a desired outcome. When we limit our understanding to factors affecting rainfall to temperature, humidity, and pressure, we can explain why Jaisalmer has around 21 centimeters rainfall on an average annually. However, when we understand the relationship between the amount of forest cover, health of groundwater reserves, and natural irrigation the agricultural and irrigation patterns, we acquire the capability to understand what action needs to be taken to increase the amount of rainfall in a desert or an arid region. So that is the idea of ecosystem. The theme of ICMM conference is related to a different kind of ecosystem. We are interested in innovation ecosystems. So I argue that taking an ecosystems approach to innovation provides us a framework to design action-oriented inquiries into the nature of innovations. Ecosystems approach allows us to conceptualize innovations with a greater balance between the salience to technology and the salience of people in the process of innovation. Let me explain this idea a little more. See, we often associate innovations very closely with technology. Thus, we misjudge the importance of role of people, organizations, and the relationship between all the people and organizations is mostly underplayed. Now, we are all familiar. Let me give an example to further elucidate this thing. We are all familiar with the ideas of artificial intelligence and machine learning. The core ideas of AI and ML have been around for 70 years. After being confined to science fiction for about 60 years, only in the last decade, we have seen widespread adoption of AI and ML in everyday problems. This surge in the use of AI and ML was a result of combination of technological advancements and human ingenuity. So the key technological advancements are primarily in the development of new and powerful processes called graphics processing units. However, one interesting fact to understand is that when NVIDIA developed these GPUs, they were developing this for the gaming market. Okay, as the technology advanced, only in 2006 they opened it for general purpose computing to the public. At that time, a group of researchers led by Professor Andrew Neg in Stanford University experimented with these GPUs, and they kind of tried to look at computer vision problems. Can they be solved using GPUs? And they
successfully implemented an algorithm to recognize handwritten digits. Now, this is a milestone of immense significance, enormous significance. Yet, the use of GPUs in machine learning gained widespread popularity only in 2012 because of a data analytics competition. The winner of the image classification competition, within that larger competition, they used GPUs to successfully beat the competition by a very huge margin. The business world took notice, and what followed is widely referred to as the fourth industrial revolution. Now, to sum up, the innovation that made machine learning become a commercially viable and widely used technology are not purely technological advancements. While technological advancements are quite necessary, an ecosystem that consisted of technology firms, gamers, universities, industry bodies, and open competitions in data analytics all played a vital role in making technology commercially viable. The way machine learning proliferated further strengthens this point. ML proliferation continues to be primarily driven by innovations in redefining old problems, developing customized algorithms, and framing new business models. Now, this is my argument so far. When we look at innovations from the ecosystem's perspective, we have a framework to understand the role of people and organizations in innovations. This understanding informs our actions that are aimed towards fostering an innovation ecosystem. The next logical question is, who are the important people and what are the important organizations in the ecosystem? I mean, to be honest, these questions fall a bit far from my domain of expertise, which is not a bad thing. After all, we are all here to learn from each other. However, when our context is fostering innovations for MSMEs, a few obviously important entities emerge. The most important entities, of course, are the MSMEs themselves. The category MSME consists of firms of different sizes from a wide range of industries. There is a very complex network of relationships between the industries and firms. Very critically, most of the technological innovations that benefited large industries have not reached the MSMEs. Most MSMEs have shortage of resources and yet are very slow in joining the sharing economy. This is where the second entity comes into play, the government and the public sector. The role of government interventions in fostering an innovation ecosystem cannot be overrated. There is a mutual dependence between the government and the MSMEs. MSMEs contribute to a large share of employment and fill critical gaps in the economy. The government, on the other hand, has much needed resources that can be mobilized to strengthen MSMEs. We will be, at this juncture, it is worth mentioning that certain initiatives by the government did facilitate innovation and value addition. We all know UPI-based payment systems have been widely adopted and enabled better credit management by small and micro players. Now, government is promoting open network for digital commerce, account aggregator networks. The work goes on. We will be hearing more on the role of government and public policy in fostering the ecosystem shortly in the panel discussion that would follow. Other important entities in the role of ecosystem which is of immense interest include technology startups, the big technology companies, and the academia. There is a lot to understand about the role of different entities in the ecosystem and the kind of problems this ecosystem innovations should aim at solving. Some of these issues are discussed in the research papers submitted to the conference. In addition, we have panel discussions and stakeholder interactions that further clarify the role of these entities in the ecosystem centered around MSMEs. These presentations and discussions will provide multiple perspectives on the problem and enable us to understand the nature of innovations in the context of MSMEs. I am looking forward to interacting with all of you on this very important topic. I will now end my address, extending a very warm welcome to all of you to the conference. I hope you have a very fruitful stay in Amritsar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. A project of great vision requires a leader who is equal to them, a captain who is unfazed at adversities, an anchor who supports firm. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our leader, Professor Inaugural, for being that strong pillar of support, without whom this conference wouldn't have been possible. Thank you, sir. Next, I'd like to take this moment to thank Professor Ashwati Ashokanajita, ICMM 2023, and the conference committee members, Professor Sunil Reddy Kunduru, Professor Ravi Khadotra, and Professor Ranjan Kumar, whose vision and ambition has helped scale this event to what it is today. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir. One thing which has been constant throughout the phase of this event was the support extended by the Ministry of MSMEs. It was their guidance which resulted in this event being conceptualized, planned, and now being executed. A heartfelt gratitude to the ministry. Next up, I'd like to thank our guests from the industry who are graceful enough to accept our invitation and are present here. A huge part of this conference is Industry Academia Connect, and we are grateful to you all for being the reason for that. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank all the participants of this conference who have papers and have come for this event. Thank you for taking time to reflect on the topic, put the thought to words, and present it in such a stage. Thank you so much. Last but not least, I take this opportunity to thank all the track chairs, panel moderators, faculty, staff, and students of IIM Amritsar for their participation and effort in making this event a grand success. Thank you all. We'll now break for a tea break, and we'll commence at 11:30 for the first panel discussion.